Crews have been searching the river for Hessel behind me since yesterday, and as we enter the evening hours, that search continues. Police now calling this a recovery effort. This is the home where the criminal complaint details suspect Jake Patterson held Jamie Kloss against her will for nearly 3 months. Community members we spoke with in this area this afternoon say the Patterson family was not well known in the area. I am actually holding a highway sign that was ripped apart during last night's storm. It was just laying kind of here among a lot of debris that we're seeing this afternoon. That's right, Bob, Danielle. I'm standing just off of County Highway X in Chippewa Falls, where crews have been busy all day patching up cracks and potholes in the road. It is an active time for bugs in the state of Wisconsin. Believe me, they're flying all around me as I speak. Well, Vice President Mike Pence arrived at the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport via Air Force 2 just before noon. 5 of the 6 remaining Gordy's Market stores now have a new owner. The price tag, over $15 million. WEAU's Brooke Schwieters was in Chippewa County Court today, where the sale was approved. While the relentless snow this winter has put extra strain on city workers trying to keep up. In Mondovi, the snow was too much and many fire hydrants in the city were completely covered. Good evening, Bob and Danielle. Well, yesterday it certainly felt like summer outside, and today, taking a walk here in Phoenix Park, I'm feeling spring. But tomorrow, it's likely to feel like winter all over again. You've probably noticed there's a serious need for more traction. And I'm not talking about for your car, I'm talking about for your feet. Well, we are officially 1 week away from the first day of spring, and as we start to see milder temperatures in the area, we're also seeing all of this snow that we got begin to turn into water. Also important to note, if you have a family history of heart disease, you could be at a greater risk.
Great information, Tajma, especially being a young woman who falls into that age category. It was really enlightening to learn about this.
Yes, because even as a young woman myself, having a heart attack isn't something I would typically worry about.
Right.
Some shoppers that I spoke to said that they did do their shopping yesterday on Thanksgiving, so maybe that's why we're seeing a lighter crowd in this area. Well, I'm standing not too far from where Antonio Robinson's body was found this morning, and officials say while multiple agencies have assisted in the search effort this week, it's ultimately the Sheriff Department's drone that led to today's recovery.
WEAU's Tajma Hall joins us now live with more. Tajma?
Good evening, Judy. Well, we're standing outside of what used to be the Severson Lutheran home. The building here closed in March, and now local developers are looking to turn it into a luxury apartment building, offering a free open skating event this Monday, upcoming Monday, and I'm going to attempt to skate off of the rink now. Now, I'm not a skater, so this will be interesting.
Reporter Tajma Hall for the CNN affiliate WEAU was at that search scene earlier today, speaking to people around that community as well, and joins me now live. Tajma, what can you tell me about that search and the people who turned out? What were they looking for?
Hi, Ashley. Well, earlier today, investigators were out searching just for any clues as to what could have happened that night, and the search efforts are actually still going on right now. Over 100 volunteers showed up.
Chippewa County was hard hit during last night's confirmed tornado. After a preliminary assessment, the National Weather Service is classifying the tornado in the town of Wheaton as an EF3.
As we continue to dig into storm damage tonight, we hear from a man who says he lost everything. WEAU's Tajma Hall shares more as recovery efforts continue.
Good evening. We are in Chippewa County in the town of Wheaton, where we're seeing significant storm damage this afternoon. We're seeing down trees to down power lines, and many people have been impacted. This afternoon, I spoke with a gentleman who lost everything in a home just behind me. He says this evening he's lucky to be alive.
I could hear trees and stuff getting slammed around outside.
Sam Moyer of Chippewa County says his home is gone. He's at a total loss after a confirmed tornado hit the town of Wheaton. Moyer says he was inside the home when the tornado ripped through.
I got home from dinner. It was just me and the dogs. I looked on the radar on the way home and I knew something was going to happen.
And something did happen.
When I wasn't home 5 minutes and one of my friends called me, said there's a tornado on the ground, it's heading right for your house. Shortly after that, I started letting the dogs out of their kennels. It wasn't probably 5 seconds after that, the lights went out.
After he lost power, he knew it was time to take cover.
There's no way I could get to our storm shelter So I just went into a bedroom, laid down next to a bed, between a bed and a dresser, and got the dogs on the floor and laid down on top of the dogs. It started hitting, I could hear the wind pick up, I could hear stuff hitting the windows, and then all of a sudden it just hit full force, and I could hear what I thought was a roof being ripped off.
Moyer says he couldn't see anything, but the sounds he heard were terrifying.
Crazy, weird. I was really different breathing. My ears were popping. It was all over within like a matter of 30 seconds, but I mean, all the walls in my room I was at it seemed like they're flexing.
He was the only one in the home at the time and made it out safely with all 3 of his dogs.
I got 2x6s that were flying through walls, through steel kennels and everything. You know, there's rocks that got blown through walls that looked like, you know, they were shot from a gun.
Moyer is warning others not to ignore future severe weather warnings.
All the meteorologists and everybody saying that, you know, there's potential for bad weather, you know, and sometimes, a lot of times there isn't, you know, and people are always giving them guys flack for it, but you know what? Just listen to them. I mean, if I'd have been like any other day and just ignored them and wasn't taking shelter, you know, it would have been a completely different result.
Now at this time, storm cleanup continues. Sheriff Kowalczyk tells us that the damage to the county is still being assessed. Luckily, only minor injuries are being reported at this time. For now, reporting in Chippewa County, I'm Tajma Hall, WEAU 13 News. 13-year-old Jamie Kloss has been safely reunited with her family. This happening almost 3 months to the day it all started. Back in October, the bodies of Jamie's parents, James and Denise Kloss, were found shot to death in the family's Barron home. Jamie had not been seen since, that is, until yesterday. In the small town of Barron, signs that once read prayers for Jamie have now been changed to welcome home. The disappearance of 13-year-old Jamie Kloss has been felt beyond the Barron County community, gaining worldwide attention. Jamie Kloss disappeared from her Barron home on October 15th after the bodies of her parents, James and Denise Kloss, were found shot to death in the family's home. Over the last several months, the Barron County Sheriff's Office, FBI, Wisconsin Department of Criminal Investigations, and many surrounding local departments have been working on the case as thousands of tips have been received.
For 88 days, I have stood before you and said we would work tirelessly to bring Jamie Kloss home. Today, I can report we have done just that.
It's just overwhelming. We're so excited to have her back.
Jamie was found in Gordon, Wisconsin. That's in Douglas County, less than 70 miles from Barron.
My agency received a 911 call about 4:30 yesterday afternoon from an individual who was out walking her dog. Said she was approached by a young female claiming to be Jamie Kloss.
Officials say Jamie has been held against her will since her disappearance, but was able to escape and find help. A suspect is now in custody, 21-year-old Jake Patterson of Gordon. Officials say Patterson has ties to Barron County. He worked with Jamie's parents at the Jennie-O turkey store several years ago, but just for one day.
With regard to the suspect taking great efforts to minimize his forensic footprint at the crime scene, they include things like not leaving trace evidence by changing his physical appearance, like shaving his head not to leave hair behind.
Investigators spent the day searching his home for clues.
We have recovered a gun consistent with what was used at the scene of the initial homicide. However, we will have to wait for confirmation that it was indeed the same weapon after examination by the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. The gun used at the scene on the night of the incident was a shotgun. The shotgun was also used to shoot open the door at the Kloss home on the night of the incident.
Officials say Jamie did not know Patterson prior to the incident. She has now been reunited with her family after a short hospital stay.
Jamie has been found safe and has been reunited with her family and friends. There is truly nothing in the world better than that.
The case has gained international attention, but right here in Wisconsin, hope for Jamie was never lost.
Jamie is the hero in this case. There's no question about it. And she's the one that helped us break the case.
And officials say Jamie was targeted by Patterson, carefully planning the crime with the intention of kidnapping her. Investigators say Patterson has no criminal history and appears to be unemployed. He's set to appear in Barron County Court on Monday, where he faces charges of first-degree homicide and kidnapping.
Now we turn to a feel-good story about an unlikely family reunion.
A local man discovers the identity of his biological parents, leaving him with quite a surprise. WEAU's Tajma Hall is here to explain all of this to us.
Yes, that's right, Danielle, Judy. Well, the level of irony in this story is wild. Nathan Boos was adopted at birth and never knew who his biological parents were. Well, recently he discovered their identity, and to his surprise, he's actually known his father for years. Take a look.
Growing up, I always knew that I was adopted. It just never crossed my mind that I'd ever find my parents.
Nathan Boos says he's gone through his entire life never knowing who his biological parents were.
I was adopted right at birth, right out of Marshfield, is where I was born.
Nathan's adoptive parents knew who his biological parents were, but because Nathan never asked, they never told him. Until one day.
And my mom just happened to come by one day and said, well, you're friends with your dad on Facebook.
After continuing this conversation with his adoptive mother, Nathan discovered his biological father is a truck driver, just like him. And that's when Nathan got curious.
She just went on my Facebook and went through my friends list and brought up his picture. And I said, get out of here.
Turns out, Nathan's biological father has been working at Rock Solid Transport in Chippewa Falls with Nathan for the past 2 years.
And I fell out of my seat.
He messaged me on Facebook one day and asked me if I knew his biological mother. And I'm like, yeah, that's my ex-wife. I about fell out of my seat. I'm like, oh my God.
Bob, who has 2 other children with his ex-wife, says the choice to give Nathan up for adoption was a difficult one, caused by financial stress.
Back then, I wasn't much of a dad. His biological mom had chosen the adopted parents. And like he said, because they were somewhat related. Distant cousins, I believe. But I didn't know that.
Both say they're excited to continue growing the friendship they already had.
Well, it's still kind of a shock. And there's days I'm not sure exactly what to say or how to act. I mean, he is my son, but yet we didn't have that father-son relationship growing up, and then we became working partners before we knew who we really were.
We're just taking one day at a time, 1 mile at a time, as we say.
And both Nate and Bob tell me that this reunion has brought them both a sense of peace. And they plan to continue building their friendship. Nate is actually scheduled to get married soon, and he's excited to see Bob there on his special day. Bob actually joked with me and said now he gets a better seat to the wedding.
Hopefully he'll be up there front and center as well.
Yeah, it's so great that they had that connection before.
It's such a good story.
It really is.
And just uncanny, all of the similarities, just seeing them together and working at the same place. Like, who would have thought?
They definitely have the same sense of humor, I can tell you.
Thank you so much, Tajma.